For this walkthrough, we're going to stack synths together for a hands in the air EDM chord sequence. Artists such as Swedish House Mafia, Hardwell and Nicky Romero all use euphoric chord breakdowns to create really powerful hands in the air moments in their music. And the most effective way to give these chords power and depth is by layering several instruments together. So we're going to show you how this is done. Load up a new 128 BPM project. Import one chord riff .mid onto a new MIDI track, and then drop one backing track .wav onto a new audio channel. On our MIDI track, we'll open up an instance of Native Instruments Massive. We'll turn its tracks level down to -5 dB. And then we'll load up the Drifter preset to give us our bass synth sound. And this is an interesting sawtooth lead with some phasing movement. We want to carve out some mids to make room for some other layers. So we'll load up Live 9's EQ8 and we'll set its band 1 to a high pass at around 120 Hz to remove some bass. And then band 2 we'll pull it down by around -4 dB at about 409 Hz to cut out some mids. So let's now build up some more layers for depth. On a new MIDI track, we'll duplicate our MIDI file, and then we'll load up Rob Papen's Predator on this track. The 01 Introduction 112 lead Trance Pops preset is a plucky chord patch, and its second oscillator is tuned 2 semitones below the first oscillator to create a major second interval. And when this is turned down to -7 dB, this layer adds some really nice delaying interest over our core massive patch. So now we'll fill out the mids of our riff with a buzzy synth sound. So on a new MIDI track, we'll load Synthmaster CM's ARP FM Sybase patch, and we'll turn the track down to -7 dB. And we'll copy our MIDI file over again, but we'll delete all of the notes of our chords except for the middle notes of our triads. So when these notes are transposed down an octave, we have a thick monophonic layer in the mid regions. If you're feeling lazy, this MIDI file is in the tutorial files folder. And to complete our 3D effect, we'll use a sub-bass layer to add bottom end weight to the riff. We'll load up Rob Papen's sub-boom bass onto a new MIDI track, and then we'll turn it down to -9.5 dB. And we'll copy our monophonic MIDI file over onto this track. And whilst we could use a simple sine wave, we'll use a preset that contains more upper harmonic content for even more perceived weight under our mid and high layers. So load up the synths 00 Introduction 018 sub Smerridge Mover preset. And you can really hear the effect that's having. Now we can add a lush top line over the top of our rock solid chord foundations. So open a new MIDI track and drop 6 top line dot mid onto it. And then we'll load Alto CM's Alto Solos Bassy Wave Sequence preset. And we'll turn it up to +2 dB. And to thin this patch out and prevent its mid clashing with the other layers, we'll add an EQ8. We'll set band 1's high pass to about 310 Hz, and then we'll dip band 2 down to around -5.5 dB at roughly 455 Hz. It's important to keep this type of track building up, so to step up our lead line at the 8 bar mark, we'll duplicate its channel for the second 8 bars. And we'll make sure that the same EQ8 is loaded on this track too. And then we'll load Alto CM's Alto Keys Organ Dirty patch, turned down to -3.5 dB. And you can hear that this lifts the melody even higher as the snare roll and rise build up throughout our backing track. So our chord sequence sounds suitably anthemic now, so we'll take some time muting and soloing the different layers to hear how each synth part contributes to the overall thickness and dense quality of the sequence as a whole. And for neatness and ease of processing, we can now route our synths to a single group channel for some overall processing or creative filtering. And if you want to follow along with this tutorial, but you don't have some of the synth plugins we've used, then we've included all the audio files for all the different layers in this month's tutorial files folder.